Hello and welcome to the Noodle, a virtual get-together to discuss emerging trends and opportunities that are top of mind for marketers. My name is Tina Aird and I'm coming to you from London. This time we have a very special session for you. I'm joined by Ty Heath, John Lombardo and Peter Weinberg, all from LinkedIn's B2B Institute. They're here to discuss 3 key trends from a brilliant report they have just published called 2030 B2B Trends. What is the B2B Institute and what triggered this report?
Well, thanks so much for having us. The B2B Institute is a think tank that researches how to accelerate growth in business-to-business relationships. We collaborate with experts to investigate how marketing can create more value. And so this trends report is part of a series of reports that we've done over the past 5 years. And so these 3 trends that we're going to talk about are the most durable and the most contrarian trends we have. And these are the trends that are worth investing in over the next 10 years. So we've got the war on brand, we've got blockbuster marketing, and the death of hyper-targeting.
War on brand, that's quite a statement. Tell us what you mean by it.
It's about the right balance between long-term growth and short-term. And specifically, it's about the battle for marketing budget. I think we all feel it. Brand marketers have been losing the budget battle for years. We know that 95% of campaigns are actually run on CPC. And so this trend looks into the fact that there's short-term marketing and long-term marketing. And we know that short-term marketing does increase sales right away, but we also see that the results decay and the effectiveness doesn't increase over time. By contrast, we want people to understand is that brand marketing also generates short-term sales, but the true strength, the real value of brand is in its effect on future sales. Brand effects compound and last longer. And that's why we believe that brand is worth investing in. It drives more growth for business than sales activation. Sadly, marketers aren't waiting long enough. They're not investing long enough for brand to bear fruit. Only 4% of B2B marketers are actually measuring programs past 6 months.
Blockbuster Marketing, what is that?
It's just, I guess, a reaction to the fact that everybody in marketing is obsessed with test and learn, making small bets. But if you actually want to think about how to monetize content in digital formats on digital platforms, it's not about making small bets, it's actually making big bets that works. You know, look at Disney. There's no better example than Disney when it comes to monetizing content. Disney does 4 things. They make big bets, as I talked about. They have a concept called surprising familiarity. They're very distinctive in their look and feel. Think about Pixar. Then they've got total merchandising, which is maybe what they're most famous for, but they're making fewer and fewer movies every year, so bigger and bigger bets. And you can see that if you go look at their slate, they're down to 8 or 9 movies a year. They're also using a strategy called surprising familiarity. That means you see the same thing over and over and over, Star Wars, so that's what's familiar. But the storyline and the characters change, that's what's surprising. We actually like to see things that are familiar to us. So surprising familiarity can be a concept that can be used in B2B marketing as well, for example, where we do our work. Salesforce does a really good job doing the state of sales every year, but they change the content. So that's number 2, surprising familiarity. Number 3 is consistent distinctiveness. You know, think about any Pixar film. You can see a Pixar film and know it's made by Pixar. It has a very distinctive look and feel. Marvel does a really good job with a consistent look and feel. If you want to go further afield, watch a Wes Anderson movie. You'll know it's a Wes Anderson movie right away. Number 4 is about total merchandising. And Disney will take the same idea, so the X-Wing or the Death Star, and they'll make a Lego set, and they'll make a DVD, and they'll make a video game. And the same thing is true in B2B marketing, actually. You can take a webinar like this, and you can put it out as a social post, you can put it out as a webinar, you can do a live event. And so it's taking the same format, right, and just putting it in different channels. So those are the 4 ideas.
I'd love to make some merchandise off the back of this. So we couldn't leave this conversation without addressing the death of hyper-targeting.
Yeah, the death of hyper-targeting is the big media trend we expect to see play out over the next decade. So the idea is, consensus opinion in the industry is that the future is all about hyper-targeting, reaching exactly the right buyer. In B2B, that's, targeting the CIO at the pharmaceutical company with 10,000 employees in Cincinnati, right? And I think what you're going to see over the next decade in both B2C and B2B is a move towards much, much broader targeting. We call it category reach. It's about reaching anyone who could potentially buy from you now and in the future. And in the report, we cover sort of what we see as the fatal flaws in hyper-targeting as a tactic. And I think the through line is just that it's based on a lot of assumptions, and they're unsafe assumptions. So for instance, it's based on the idea that we have incredible third-party data that allows us to reach exactly the right people. Except if you look at the academic literature, most third-party data is really, really bad. Can't even get gender right 50% of the time. So I would say hard to target CIOs based on third-party data. Bunch of other issues too. People move between segments. So if you're trying to reach a CIO today and you use hyper-targeting to reach them, you're not accounting for the fact that there's going to be other CIOs in the future. You need to target junior IT people who become senior IT people. According to our LinkedIn data, about 40% of users change jobs, functions, industries, seniorities every 4 years. And then finally, I would just say hyper-targeting assumes that marketers can predict the future and know exactly who's going to buy from them. And you just need to reach that audience with laser precision. But I think what we see in our data is that the most effective targeting strategy is just to go very broad and then let machine learning algorithms optimize the targeting over time. So I think marketers need to get more comfortable with the unknown and just embrace the fact that you can't predict the future. It's much easier to make optimizations than predictions. And for all those reasons, we think broad targeting is a better strategy than hyper targeting.